Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach and welcome to the weekend preview. I'm rolling in absolute darkness here. I thought I did the same game multi. We've got that going on tonight. Check that out if you like. And I did a very sporadic press conference today. So 3 videos in a couple of hours, but I was keen to get this preview out. And I also want to do another video over the weekend to sort of discuss a couple of bits and pieces about what I'm looking forward to in terms of upgrade targets. We've just clicked into the third quarter of Hawthorn-Carlton. I know, I think the Hawks, well, there's Cripps. I was talking about Cripps going big. I mentioned that in my press conference. I said I reckon he's due, and it sounds as if he's going pretty well. Don't know about Doherty, but yeah, the Hawks have really bounced back. I mean, the Blues were pounding them early, and I thought, how good is this? Being a Cat supporter, I was like, have a look at this. They're smashing the Hawks. This is beautiful to see a poor Hawthorn side. And they are poor, but gee, they've come back real well. But let's straighten up. What are we doing this week? What the hell's going on with the teams? Is anyone else pissed off with that? We normally Thursday night get access to the weekend's teams. And I know it's a bit more spread out, but Jesus Christ, we're getting like drip fed these teams. I just had a look before. I still can't see Sunday teams. It's bloody Friday night. I need my teams. I need to assess stuff. God, don't the people at AFL House think about us fantasy footballers? Maybe it's not top of their list, but nonetheless, what am I doing? Devon Smith, get the hell out of my side. You've been an absolute disappointment. Now, started the year with a couple of hundreds, and I don't want to pump my tyres up too much, but I did a video telling you he'd be a trap. And I ended up getting him anyway. It was just the way things fell, and I didn't have confidence in others, and you rearrange things. And to be fair, his pre-season was pretty impressive, and his start to the year was really good. I don't know what's been going on, but I was wearing those 70s. I was like, oh, okay, 70. It's got to be the worst case scenario. He could go up from here. Then he chucks in like, 49? And I was like, nah, there's just, I've got no idea if or when he could bounce back. And even if he does, he's going to be copping some price drops anyway. So I'm pulling the pin. But the difficulty is there's minimal options. I mean, I'm looking at James Bell from Sydney, which is, a lot of people may have gone Georgiades. I'm going to butcher that every time. But he was really impressive again the other night after a solid return to the Port Adelaide side. The reason I didn't was just because I wasn't too sure, being a taller type of player, but he's super impressive, and he wasn't basement sort of price. I think he's 170, something like that, and he'll go up well beyond 200 again. So if you got on board, nicely done. If you got him on the field, really well done, because I haven't checked, but I presume he scored pretty nicely. But in terms of replacements, just look around and be patient. We've got to be smart at the moment because teams are dropping randomly, and you've got different games, double headers, longer weekends. Every day's got a game. So we've got to be super switched on. I mean, I know it sounds simple to say, but don't make a stupid error because it could kill you. And I've been a culprit over the journey where I know earlier this year I forgot to make a trade. It didn't hurt me that much in the end, but it can happen. And it can happen more when things are a little different to your Friday to Sunday and everything's routine and we've been used to it forever. So just stay switched on. But my main message I wanted to preach is build up a bank. Build up a bank. So I'm going double downgrade. It looks like I will probably have Devon Smith downgraded, which will bring me to about 450k, I think. Something like that. I can't quite remember, but a big bucket load of cash sitting there. And if I don't get a couple of guys coming in via the Sunday teams, I'm going to be left with a 0 in my midfield, which will force my hand to probably trade out Tom Green, who I doubt will come back, but we'll just wait on those teams. So it could be a triple downgrade. 3 trades, 3 downgrades. And that's not exactly what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was bring in Michael Walters this week. I wanted to go Devon Smith to Walters. But it just, with his hamstring, looks like it could be a couple of weeks. So the reason I say build a war chest is because things are going to be difficult through this stretch. The talk is that after this festival of footy, short breaks and whatnot, AFL players, we are going to go back to 6-day breaks and a bit of more normality. But at the moment, it's hectic. We could see unforeseen changes and restings and management of players. So it can't hurt to have a war chest of cash just so you're not shortchanged when it comes to making a trade that you want to do, because nothing worse than maybe trading in a premium that you don't quite want, or you've had your heart set on a guy and you just can't make those trades or afford him however it may fall. But I might be going a bit hard on it, but it's just how I've seen it fall, and mainly because next week, Tommy Stewart, you got to bring him in. Zach Williams, I'm anticipating, will come back in 2 weeks' time. You got to bring him in. Jai Simpkin, I reckon he'll bounce back. He's covered a bit of attention. I reckon Cunnington coming back on the side will help him to an extent, and he'll be cheap as chips. It can't hurt to have him at F6. So there's a few guys, keep an eye on. Treloar scored an 80. He might dip just a touch. Tom Mitchell seems to be going okay tonight at the moment, but he's just been going, ho-hum so far this year. So point being, unless there's someone you really like the look of at the moment that you want to snap up, Mitch Duncan is another guy who'll be pretty cheap for what he's been doing. But I think it can't hurt to have a little bit of excess coin in the bank and launch yourself at some premiums in the coming weeks. And preference guys that are playing. I mean, that's always the case, but I think if there's an opportunity to maybe say there's a rookie on your bench who's 220 and you want to downgrade him, but he's playing, and there's a guy that's 160 who's been dropped, it might be worth trading the guy who's 160. You'll pocket less coin, but you'll get an extra player, just to give you more coverage, more people to field just in case. And it helps a lot when we do field our best 18. So in the coming weeks with the buys and stuff, only your first 18 scorers count. And a lot of people go, all I need is 18 or 19, that's fine. But where you really make your money and you can really climb some serious ranks is if you can field, have 21 or whatever like that, maybe more, because, if you have a couple of poor scores, they'll be cancelled out. Your top 18 scorers will go towards your weekly total, which is massive if you can afford to do that. So point being, preference guys that are playing, look to have reasonable job security over what we may have normally done, and that's just pocket as much coin as we possibly can. But I think that's the way to go about it. Also, from a captaincy point of view, I think a lot of people will be going Lachie Neale tonight. I personally will be barracking against him because I had Max Gawn as VC. A lot of people might have gone McRae, so kudos if you did, but obviously won't be taking Gawn's score with a sub 100. So I'm actually opting for Grundy. So I feel like it's a point of difference. I don't know. I think Lachie Neale will play well. I just have a gut feeling that Essendon are going to try to... you always try to stop him, but I just feel like he'll get a bit more of attention. I don't know if it'll be a hard tag. I've just got a gut feel that we'll see him paid close attention around the stoppage. And how many times can you go 150 in a season? I know it sounds stupid. The bloke's in hot form, but it's true. If you look back upon season, there is a limit to how many 150 scores you can reel off in a row and in total. So I think Grundy's going to beat up on what's a pretty weak Dockers ruck department, and I expect Collingwood to bounce back with ferocity. So I'm right on board Grundy. I think his pride's been pricked a little bit. A lot of talk about him not being a top 3 or 4 ruckman in the comp, let alone the number 1, which he was for a while. I expect him to really bounce back. I know he scored 60 odd, but they managed him for a quarter and a half last week. That's why Cameron scored 92. I don't see that happening this week. They've had the rest into Grundy. I'm expecting 140 plus. So I think you'll get plenty of touches around the ground and knock up 30-odd hit-outs and have a really good game. But that's about all, I think. Build that war chest if you can. Really build it up. And then we can load up and get some premiums that have just fallen off a touch in these coming weeks. So all the best for the weekend, and I'll catch you soon. Cheers.